Hello. Okay, so I wanted to make a quick video for you to supplement some of what you're learning about catastrophic events. So this is not an all-inclusive video. It's not completely comprehensive. These are just some things that I want you to be thinking about and remembering as you encounter this information. So we're going to click through this slideshow together. I'm going to start with floods. So a flood is any time that the water capacity or the water exceeds capacity for an area. So usually water soaks into the ground, but in cities there are more roads and there's more pavement and cement, and so water can't necessarily soak into the ground. So it's easier to flood in cities. And also, once the ground is saturated, if the water is moving too quickly, it's going to flood. So here's some damage to ecosystems when we experience floods. So some animals might die. If they can't climb trees, they can't escape quickly, or they can't swim, they're going to die. Some of the habitat may be temporarily destroyed. Floods don't usually last a long time. And so while it may destroy habitat for a period of time, it's not quite as permanent. It's a pretty short-term thing. One of the biggest issues is chemicals from towns and farms poison the water. So when a flood moves through, it's moving quickly, moves through houses. A lot of times it will take chemicals and things with it from those houses. And then farms use pesticides and fertilizers. Those can damage ecosystems as well. This can also create an imbalance in the area. So it's possible that the mosquito population would explode. It's possible that mold might overgrow and can damage the plants in the area. And also, depending on how long the flood lasts, it could kill plants in the area. So those are the main things with floods. Here's a picture of a flood. Think about all this water. Look at that water moving through this house here, this barn. Think about if this was farmland. Think about the farm animals. Think about what some of these trees may be, what they may be exposed to because of what's in this flood water. All right, let's talk about tornadoes. So a tornado is a violent rotating column of air. And this is a short thing, but it can cause a lot of damage. So one of the biggest, really debris is one of the biggest issues, but loss of habitat is one issue. The strong winds can blow over trees, uproot trees, damage vegetation even along the ground. Loss of vegetation over a small area. So even though some tornadoes can be really large, when we think about when you compare them to floods or hurricanes, tornadoes are pretty small. So one thing that you have, if you have vegetation loss, is possible increased erosion. So remember how we talked about plants hold soil in place. So if you uproot a bunch of trees in an area, you could have more erosion in that area. Another really big issue with tornadoes is they create a lot of debris. They're shredding through houses and chopping stuff up, and that creates debris that has to be something has to be done with it. A lot of times, if it rains, that debris gets washed into the water, and it can contaminate that water and rivers and other bodies of water nearby, like lakes. So here is a picture of tornado damage. You can see this is a fairly small area, and you can even see that it looks like this tornado came through and damaged these houses and kind of went this direction. It might have even picked up and dropped back down there. All right, let's talk quickly about hurricanes. So hurricane is a tropical storm that increases in intensity and to the point where it's a rotating column of storms, basically, and usually characterized by having an eye in the middle. And so these form over ocean water, typically warm ocean water, because that fuels those hurricanes. And when they come onto land, they can cause a lot of damage. So obviously there's wind damage due to the high winds. This happens in a very large area. You can have loss of habitat due to winds from organisms. For organisms, excess rain can cause flooding, which we've already talked about some of the damage caused by flooding. You can also experience some beach or sand dune erosion. I'm going to show you a picture in a moment, so you can see kind of what that causes. And then one of the most dangerous parts of a hurricane is the storm surge. So storm surge is the ocean water that's flooding in ahead of the storm. This is salt water, and it can kill plants on land, and it also can destroy structures and vegetation. This water doesn't usually stay. It usually comes in and then recedes.